Welcome to the Hour of Power podcast. We've got a little bit of an audience as well in the chat, and I've got Katie joining me this week on the Hour of Power podcast. Now, we missed last week. We're catching up. No, we're not going to skip that episode. We're going to talk about that episode tonight. And we've got maybe even Logan Frazier making a run in. Knighton, I've talked to him. He said, you know what? Put that link out there. Tag me in it. And I might be making a run in. So who knows who's going to stop by here on the Hour of Power podcast. Tonight, Katie, we have got a lot to talk about. We've got the Crockett Cup really is the focus of NWA Power right now. Yes. First of all, how you doing, Katie?
Better than the last time you asked me. I got a new car today. So
that's awesome. What did you get again?
2017 Jeep Cherokee.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, that is a way newer vehicle than what I drive around in. I am one of those type of people that's just like, get me from point A to point B. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world. Yeah. It's a Sorento, a 2012 Sorento Kia.
My van's an 07.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I got two kids. You've got kids. You got to have something kind of big enough to haul the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So. But all right, let's talk about NWA. It's Crockett Cup season on NWA, and the first matchup we got is Southern Six taking on Team Exodus Pro. Now, Team Exodus Pro, I've mentioned before, is from Cleveland, Ohio. That is EC3's promotion, and one of his diamonds in the rough would have to be Pretty Boy Smooth, who they've been pushing pretty strong on the show as of late. Again, the production value has stepped it up. I enjoy the video packages. We're being reminded of people like Brian Idol and just how the tournament has shook out. And I'm really enjoying how the production has really stepped up their game.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But I got to tell you, I didn't have the Southern Six as my first match in week 3.
No, they had it. I'm sorry, they had it as a preview. That ended up being the final match.
Yeah.
But yeah, they basically hyped that match. It was a preview of it.
Yeah.
The first match was the Island Twins taking on TVMA. A great women's tag match to start out the show.
That was fantastic.
Kind of flexing their women's tag division.
Mm-hmm.
And TVMA, now they were a really big tag team on the indie scene, and they were in WOW. So they've really made a name for themselves. They were a big signing for NWA a number of months ago. I remember them announcing it on their social media. But it seemed like this match, Tiffany Nueva's getting the win here. It felt a little bit underwhelming, I guess, with the finish. You're really just establishing your tag champions, it seemed like, in this match. So
my mom was watching this with me. She doesn't watch much wrestling, okay? But my mom was watching with me, and she goes, she could have kicked out of that.
And I was like, the Island Twins, they're pretty, viable team. I mean, a lot of companies were going after them, so it was great that the NWA was able to nab them up. Yes. So I just kind of would like to see them in a bigger spotlight. I honestly thought, when I heard the match, I thought that they would be put over, but surely they've got some big plans for the Island Twins. They are a great tag team.
They have to.
What did you think of the match overall?
I really liked it. It was very much a textbook tag team match. They were very smooth. Unlike a certain other wrestler that you and I have had conversations about, I didn't feel like anybody was going to get injured.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like anybody couldn't pull their own weight and muscle in the match.
And Brandon, are you there? Are you on the line?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
He is on the line.
Hi, Brandon.
We're happy to have you on audio. Overall, what do you think of the Island Twins in the women's tag match?
I mean, they put me in the mind a little bit of like the Bloodline. I don't know if they're related to any of them, but like
they are.
I feel like that's that's kind of what I thought. about watching them, and I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a decent tag match.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Well, all right, moving on. They had this segment once again where we had Thrill Billy and Mims. Mims is wandering around a bar. We got it's Uncle Thrill's watering hole. Thrill Billy, supposedly his family owns this bar. He goes on to this was kind of confusing. He goes on to talk about how he's trying to go for the NWA Heavyweight Championship, and he's talking to Mims about how that's a quick ticket to the NWA Championship because Mims is of course the national heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And they just kind of go back and forth. It's a little strange. Mims kind of played almost a face character, even though they're both heels. But they both teased a big match between the two, and maybe we're getting that down the line. I'm hoping because that's a pretty intriguing matchup,
It
and that's
definitely made you think, when Mims shows up in there and Thrillbilly shows up and it was kind of what are they going to do here?
yeah. Well, it's cool to see that. To me, those two are NWA originals. So you're putting over your original talent.
Yeah.
You're not trying to hang on past names too much,
Right.
which
Right.
a lot of companies will do that. Um,
Oh, come on, it's just a bunch of hocus pocus. Watching. Who's watching me?
so yeah, that just it's kind of a weird exchange back and forth between the two, kind of teasing a match between them. Brandon, I'm just curious on your thoughts. What do you think of these little segments that we've been getting with the NWA headquarters and the whole Thrill Billy and Mims segment?
I'll be honest, I haven't been a big fan of these segments in general, but
Yeah,
anytime that Thrill Billy is on the screen, I'm glued to it. I think
something about him, right?
he's one of their big stars to me, and just anytime he's on there, I'm watching and I'm paying attention. So I think the
Absolutely.
more they can get him on TV, the better.
I would totally agree with that, especially with his fame coming out of the Iron Claw. I know he played a very, very small role, but he did play Terry Bam Bam Gordy, and that's kind of who he reminds me of. Just an old school heel, just so intense, and he was actually just all over this show. Or no, the next show he was just absolutely all over. But we're not done talking about this show. We get a Slime Balls unique entrance as they take on the Immortals. Now, Slimeball playing the underdog role, and the Cinderella story comes to an end when the Mortals pick up the victory and advance on into the Crockett Cup. Not much to say about this match. It was a decent match back and forth. They gave the Slime Balls a little bit of offense, but in the end, the Mortals are going to pick up the victory. Katie, you got any thoughts on this match?
The slime balls are growing on me.
Yeah.
I have two boys. Um and the slime balls for them, they're like, "Oh, it's the slime balls." And I'm like, "Stop. No. Ignore them." But they're growing on me, and then the more I think they lean into kind of telling the slime ball story, the more I'm starting to like them, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't
God,
want to
they're
like
super
these
corny.
guys."
Um, they're so corny though. It's kind of enjoyable. I don't,
Yes.
they are
Yeah.
definitely a comedy act. I think Knight would probably disagree with us. He's never been a big fan of the slime balls, but
No.
I'll tell you who is a big fan of the slime balls, and that is one of our fans of the podcast, Brody Rogers, who says he
Yes.
hails from Slime Ball City and knows all about the slime balls. He's a big slime ball fan.
Yeah.
He is a slime ball, actually.
He
So
would fit right in.
yeah, because he
He
is a
would
pretty
fit
big
right
slime
in.
ball. Absolutely.
We say
We
that
get reminded
lovingly.
of Brian Idle's TV win from a couple of weeks ago, really putting that over. Excited to see Brian Idle more on a regular basis, especially him being tagged or TV champ.
Yeah.
I think he's an excellent TV champ. So I'm glad that they're reminding of people. Old Power episodes wouldn't do that.
No.
You would have a title change like that. You wouldn't know until next time Brian Idle was on the show that he was, TV champion. They're
Right.
doing a lot better, job of reminding people of what's
Well, and
happened in the
kind
previous
of
week.
keeping everybody like updated in a way without having to dig through a website or 5 different social media channels.
Right. And we get Southern Six in the ring, really bragging about how they're gonna repeat and then triple peat, and they're they're in there talking their shit, and basically Exodus Pro comes in. Pretty Boy kind of interrupt him a little bit, and then we get Thrillbilly on commentating, which I
Was
thoroughly
interesting.
enjoyed. This guy is he's great on the mic.
Yeah.
He's got a great look. He's really the whole package if you think about it. He's a guy that I've been wanting them to push ever since we started
Absolutely.
doing the podcast, and they did to a certain degree, but now is his time. And I think we're getting that on Power. I think we're getting a strong push towards Thrillbilly. They put him on commentary. He knocks it out of the park, in my opinion. Now, the Southern Six, the Crockett Cup winners last year, do not get the win here. EC3 and Pretty Boy get the win and
I
advance on.
absolutely love EC3. I'm so
Team
glad that we get to
Exodus
see him
Pro.
again. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then the show is just over like that, right? Because it
Well,
felt it felt like a quick show.
it
Um,
did.
and that's a good thing. And that's what when I watch NWA and it's over, I'm like, oh damn, it's already over. Like,
Yes.
whoa.
Every time.
Like everything is flowing a lot better. They're knocking it out of their park with their shows. They're doing a great job.
Yeah.
My biggest complaint is that I would like to see these shows on pay-per-view instead of them breaking them up. But
Yes.
they're saving all kinds of money, and that's the important thing. They're saving money and they're making money, especially at their live events. And this
Yeah.
this was a lively crowd. Once again, they're back in the old Philadelphia ECW arena. The crowd is hot. Overall, a great show. Team Exodus Pro looking strong in this one. Pretty Boy Smooth, they kept him looking strong. And yeah, they advanced on in the tournament. Thrillbilly's complaining on commentary how it's a travesty and it was BS. And
It's fantastic.
yes. So, what did you think of the show overall on episode 3 of the
I
Roku era?
I love the pace. They have parts where they speed up a little bit. They have parts where they're a little bit laid back. And then this last match was like the final like socket to them. Again, pace for me is a thing. But I will say in this last tag team match, the Southern Six taking their dear sweet time in the ring, I was literally squirming, going, "What are they doing? What's going on right now? What's the ref doing?" Like actually yelling at the TV and
Yeah.
getting made fun of by my family in the process, may I add.
Some of that old
Um,
school wrestling.
right? Now I do want to rewind just for a second because we skipped over Thrillbilly's watering hole with
Okay.
Kenzie at the table.
We did skip over that a little bit, yeah.
And
I didn't. I don't
Hunter
even have that wrote down in my notes.
Hunter
But go
didn't have
ahead.
a whole lot to say at that table.
No, I mean, let me tell you something. Without spoiling anything, it's not spoiling anything. It was a scheduled match at NWA 77.
Hmm.
Now, I've been contemplating what is this head of the territory segments building towards. What Brandon just said he wasn't very interested in unless their ability was on there. It's building towards JCP, Joe Kazana Promotions, NWA, versus Crossfire, which is Kenzie Page's promotion. So it's building to a 4-on-4 match at NWA 77. That's what all these segments were about. I thought it was building to multiple shows where they faced each other, but apparently it's just building to really to this one match, which they can still go to. And
Yeah.
they are both, the territories are in Tennessee and kind of South Tennessee, East Tennessee. So why not double up together, bring your talent together, do these super shows where and peg it JCP versus Crossfire, and that's a hot ticket. That's a hot indie show. That's a show that I would be interested in going to. Not very far from me, just a little bit up the road. So I don't know what did you think of the episode overall, Brandon?
So far, I've watched all the episodes on is it Roku?
Yes.
The
Yes.
Roku channel. So ever since they've been on Roku, I've watched all the episodes, and this one was by far my favorite so far. I just felt like there was a lot more going on. There
Mm-hmm.
was more storytelling. There was obviously more Thrillbilly. Like I mentioned before, I think anytime they have him on,
Oh yeah.
it's good TV. So I enjoyed this episode, and also looking forward to the next episode. Um, Hammerstone is coming. That's
Yes.
exciting.
Oh,
So
we're skipping ahead. That's on
I
the
know,
next
but
episode.
but
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 yeah,
they
yeah,
but
yeah.
they
Go ahead.
showed that they showed that little promo of him
I
coming
like
up,
that too.
on this episode. So that kind of built that anticipation for what's coming up next. So
Oh man,
I
well, we're on episode 3. We're going to talk about episode 4, but episode 5 coming up next week is stacked. It's got 2 really really big matchups.
Isn't that going to be the not the finals of the Crockett Cup?
No, but they got Tom Latimer and Rhino, and then Thrillbilly against Hammerstone next week. Or yeah, next. Well, we're recording this. We're catching up with
We're
everybody. But
catching up.
hey,
It's okay.
that is going to wrap up episode 3 of NWA on Roku and us, the Hour of Power, our 3rd episode. And we're going to get off here and we're going to record episode 4. And we're going to see who we can round up. Anybody else is going to stop by here. And I appreciate y'all being on for this episode. As we take a little break and we're going to go to episode 4. If you're listening to episode 3, you're listening to us right now, please do yourself a favor, download episode 4, and we'll talk more NWA. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.